Hello, everyone, and welcome to GirlCon Digital 2020. My name is Kyla Guru, and I'm the co-founder of GirlCon Conference and the co-director for our GirlCon 2020 event. I'm also a rising freshman at Stanford University. From the bottom of our hearts, thank you for being here. In this time of great uncertainty, we cannot explain the joy in our hearts every time we got an email notifying us that a new registrant had joined our community. It is an honor and a privilege to host you all for our 2020 GirlCon event.
Hello, my name is Ariana Goldstein, and I am also a co-director for GirlCon 2020 and a rising freshman at the University of Southern California. While GirlCon may not look like what we, as organizers, had imagined or predicted it to look like after 6 months of planning, we are so grateful that the virtual nature of this year's event allows us to host inspiring young women from all across the world, interested in making a grand impact in technology.
GirlCon began as a student-run annual conference built to empower students identifying as women and non-binary to network, lead, and empower in technology. Now, as we continue to grow not only as a conference, but also as a movement, we are so excited about the future. We host this conference annually to provide the safe space for students to empower, learn to raise their hand confidently, and find their voice as a force of nature.
Throughout the past 2 years, we have brought together hundreds of passionate attendees and dedicated team members to make a difference in the next generation of female leaders in technology. Our first conference in 2018 was held at Northwestern University, where we welcomed 200 attendees. Our second conference last year was held at Google and had 250 attendees. And this year, 2020, we are thrilled that we can accommodate over 700 incredible attendees for our online conference.
In order to make sure this week is as inspiring and impactful as possible, we highly encourage that you keep your camera on if you're comfortable during all the sessions you go to. Please note that several of the sessions will be recorded while the presenter is speaking and posted as unlisted for only GirlCon registrants to view afterwards. Additionally, please use the chat features as much as possible to introduce your name and where you're from, but also react with fun emojis for content and ask as many questions as you can think of. Not to mention, engaging more this week gives you a greater chance of receiving that ultimate swag bag.
Yes, you all should have received an email this morning with detailed information about engagement. So take a look at that for the social media graphics. But we are so excited to announce our engagement activities for the week. Today is Motivational Monday, where you can share why you are a #force of nature. Tomorrow on Tell Us Tuesday, you can add our graphic to your social media stories that tells us a little bit about you. On Women Empowerment Wednesday, take our BuzzFeed quiz to find out which woman in STEM you are. On This or That Thursday, show us your tech preferences. And on 5 in a Row Friday, play bingo with us.
We are so glad you all made it to this opening ceremony and got the calendar invite. This is how you'll join all of your sessions, through Google Calendar and clicking on the calendar invite you have. The links in your calendar for the specific sessions will lead you to your interactive Google Meet instead.
Join us this week to become empowered by tech and connected to other passionate young leaders. Participate in your sessions, thank the presenters joining, post on social media to spread our message, and most importantly, stay safe and stay inspired.
From the bottom of our hearts, thank you for joining us this week. We can't wait to feel your incredible energy and watch you all be a force of nature.
Thanks, Kyla. Thanks, Ariana. Hi, everyone. My name is Vidya, and I am a rising junior at Stevenson High School, and I'm on the core team of GirlCon. And it has been such a pleasure to be a part of planning such an incredible event and host all of you. Before we kick off our opening ceremony, I wanted to give a huge thank you to all of our wonderful breakout and professional development leaders. This conference truly would not be able to function without all of you. And as a past attendee myself at many of your sessions, you inspire each and every one of us to reach higher and make a difference in this world. So we can't thank you enough for taking time out of your busy schedules to be here with us. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Prachi Gyanmote, and I'm also a rising junior at Stevenson High School, and I'm also on the core team member for GirlCon. This event really wouldn't have been possible without our amazing sponsors that were there to support us every step of the way. From the various platforms to everything included as part of our swag bags to the giveaways, they have supported us every way possible, and they have been there to make this event as successful as possible today. And for that, we can't thank you enough.
Hi guys, my name is Sneha Mohan, and I'm a rising senior at Stevenson High School on the core team. We want to give a big shout out to all of our amazing keynote speakers this year. You all come from so many different backgrounds and each offer a unique perspective on what it means to be a woman in today's society. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to inspire over 700 young girls from all around the world. We are truly grateful to have you here with us and can't wait to see what you all have to say.
Hi everyone, my name is Ellie Goldsmith and I am a rising senior at Highland Park High School and a core team member of GirlCon 2020. I am so grateful to have been a part of this incredible team and to have been able to help make this conference as amazing as it is. I just want to say a tremendous thank you to our counterparts at Google. From the moment we started planning, you all have been so helpful in every way possible. A special thank you to Julie, Allison, and Lindsay for helping us along the way and by being incredible mentors. Another huge thank you to Lauren, Aaron, and Christopher for helping us prepare for our virtual event. And last, but definitely not least, to Sarah for helping us with this entire event and allowing us to have these incredible platforms along with your help. This event truly would not be possible without all of you and our partnership with Google. We are so incredibly honored to be able to work with such an incredible team and hope to continue this partnership in the future.
Now we have a heartwarming video from amazing sponsors that have made this event possible.
Hello, my name is Sue Helen. I'm an engineer by trade, artificial intelligence geek by job. On behalf of IBM, welcome to GirlCon 2020. The committee has put together an outstanding group of sessions. IBM is proud to have 23 women presenting in 9 of those sessions. From quantum to AI to web design, cybersecurity, and professional development. We hope all the sessions pique your curiosity, raise your passion, and encourage you to learn more about STEM. Every industry will be impacted. Your ability to harness technology will take you far. Stay curious, have fun.
Hello everyone and welcome to GirlCon Digital 2020. My name is Ramona Aratiu and I am the president of the ISACA Chicago chapter. ISACA is focusing on education and knowledge sharing among individuals in IT audit, governance, risk compliance, security, and cybersecurity. Our Chicago chapter board is so excited to support this wonderful conference for the 3rd year in a row. We have several programs and initiatives supporting your generation. One of them that I believe is particularly relevant here, it is the Shilly Stack program under the One in Tech Foundation. The Shilly Stack program seeks to increase the representation of women in technology leadership roles and the tech workforce. Once again, welcome, and we hope you'll enjoy the GirlCon Digital 2020.
Hi, girls. I'm Leslie Cohen, co-founder of the business boutique law firm Hirschman Cohen, LLC. I represent many of Chicagoland's early stage technology companies, helping them raise funds and put their organizational structures together, and then protecting them through the contracts that they enter into with their customers and vendors as they continue to grow into mature businesses. I am so grateful and excited to be part of GirlCon for the 3rd year in a row and to present my breakout session called Law and Technology. Each of you has already shown how bright your future is just by taking the initiative to be at this conference and open to learning from so many other amazing women who have made it in the technology world, as well as from your peers. Enjoy it all.
Hello, my name is Amanda, and on behalf of Balsamic, I want to welcome you to GirlCon. UX is a fast-growing, high-paying, and impactful discipline. If you're wondering where to begin, start with Balsamic. Balsamic wireframes is the perfect first design tool for anyone getting into UX, and it's by far the most approachable. You just drag, drop, and arrange the controls on the page. We even have online courses and articles to teach you all about UI design. Balsamic is free for classroom use and very affordable for anyone else, so kickstart your career at balsamic.com, BALSAMIQ.com.
Hey everyone, it is Lauren, founder of Girl Security. We are so excited to once again support and partner with GirlCon 2020. Girl Security is closing the gender gap in national security through learning, training, and mentoring support for girls. You can head over to our website, which is girlsecurity.org, to learn more about our partnerships, workshops, and mentoring for middle and high school aged girls. Thank you for being with us today, and we look forward to sharing an awesome session with all of you.
On behalf of Google, welcome to GirlCon 2020. Google aspires to build a workforce that's representative of all of our users and a place where everybody feels like they have belonging. So we are very excited to be sponsors of GirlCon this year.
Enjoy!
We just want to say thank you again to our generous sponsors, Google, ISACA Chicago, IBM, Girl Security, the Blockchain Institute, Brookfield Assessed Management.
We'd also like to thank Bits and Bytes Security Education, Balsamic, Sticker Mule, the CME Group, Onshore Security, and Hirschman Cohen Law. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ellie and Vidya. So before we get into our amazing keynote speakers, we have a few familiar faces who want to share a special surprise message with you all.
Welcome to GirlCon, everyone. Hi, ladies. Welcome to GirlCon 2020. I am so proud of you for taking an active role in your education. I want you to know it's me, Jennifer Hudson, and the entire Chicago is cheering you on. Keep up the good work. Stay amazing. Stay focused. Be blessed. And be the best GirlCons you can ever be. Love you dearly and so proud of you all. Bye. Love, Jan.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to GirlCon. I'm so happy to see that you're all here, especially during this time of uncertainty and change that's going on in the country. It's really important right now that we support one another, especially as young women. And my favorite quote of all time is, "The unfolding of your words gives light. It brings understanding to the simple." Therefore, the words that we use and the stories we share and listen to can formulate a home and build a community. So thank you all for joining.
Hey everyone, welcome to GirlCon 2020. My name is Ashley Wagner. I am an Olympic bronze medalist and a world silver medalist in figure skating. And I just want to take a second to say what you guys are a part of is so incredibly cool. I feel like as women, we so often have to justify our confidence. And I just want to take a second here to say to you today, own what makes you different, own what makes you special. Put that out to the world because that's going to take you very far. I hope you guys enjoy this experience and go take on the world with some confidence.
Hi, you guys. I'm Katarina.
And I'm Christy.
And we were on the previous season of The Biggest Loser. And we want to say welcome to GirlCon 2020. And we just remind you girls that you are valuable and powerful and deserving of every opportunity in the world that comes your way.
And you know what? I think at the core of every single woman, she needs to know that she creates her own happiness, her own motivation, and her own drive. And as long as you're creating that, no one can ever dull your sparkle or take that away from you. So as long as you're creating your own happiness, you are set for life.
Period. And enjoy GirlCon, ladies.
Have a great time.
Hello to the female role models of our future. My name is Haley Sunny. I'm a social media influencer and activist, and it is an honor for me to be able to welcome you to the Digital GirlCon 2020. You might be living through some of the most uncertain times of your lifetime, with a nationwide outcry against systemic racism, police brutality, simultaneously a global pandemic with a fragile economy following just a few steps behind. In this time of uncertainty, however, one thing is for certain, and it's that the life that we had come so accustomed to living was unjust and no longer tolerable.
You might feel hopeless, like it is a dream that you just can't wake up from, but the fact that you're attending a progressive convention like this in itself gives me so much hope for our generation and the things that we will change in the future. Technology has never been as developed, accessible, and widespread as it is now, and I think it's a very powerful instrument that you should utilize no matter your field to really amplify your voices across all platforms. Your perspective is everything. These challenges might look so hopeless at first glance, but I promise you that once we overcome them and we work towards progress, the strength that you've built and your ability to stand on your own 2 feet will be incomparable. Never underestimate your force. You are the voices of the future. If there isn't someone that represents you currently in the position that you wish to reach one day, know that you can get there, you will get there, and you will be the role model for the next generation of girls who attends GirlCon. I'm so proud of us. I'm so excited to see all the beautiful and progressive changes that we will bring into our era, and I hope you guys enjoy the rest of this convention. Bye!
Hey ladies, I am so proud of you and I'm so excited for your careers that you're about to embark on in technology. My big piece of advice for you is remember to be brave, not perfect. Don't give up if you make a mistake. It's okay sometimes if your project or the thing that you're working on is just a B+ instead of an A that you want. Enjoy the ride, enjoy the journey, try new things. Your mindset is not fixed. I'm rooting for you. You're going to change the world. And I'm so proud of everything that you're about to do. Thank you.
Hi, ladies. Welcome to GirlCon. My name is Camille Stewart, and I'm the head of security policy at Android and Google Play. And I just want to remind you all that your differences are one of your greatest assets. Embrace them and leverage them to provide new insights. Enjoy the conference.
Hi, I'm Jenny Ricard, President and CEO of Common App. 2020 has certainly taken some turns that none of us expected. What doesn't surprise me is the courage, resilience, and grace that you have shown navigating this challenging year. I am so excited that you're participating in virtual GirlCon and exploring your passions. I know that you'll connect with peers who have similar aspirations and leave this conference inspired and motivated to make a lasting impact on your communities. Taking this important step towards your bright future is an important step for a bright future for all of us, because the world desperately needs talented women leaders like you to make it a better place for everyone. I'm so proud of you. Have a great conference.
Welcome to GirlCon, everybody. I'm Sheryl Sandberg, COO of Facebook and founder of Lean In, and I could not be more excited about getting more girls and eventually more women into tech. Tech is an amazing industry. It's always evolving, and at its heart, it's all about innovation and making the world a better place. My leap into tech, made almost by accident, was one of the best decisions I ever made. And you know what would make tech even better? You. Right now, there are amazing young women working in technology, but we're still outnumbered. And there are even fewer Black women and other women of color. If we got to 50-50 in tech, half women, half men, and if we made tech as diverse as the world it serves, it would be transformative. My generation has not gotten the job done on racial and gender equality, but I know your generation will. I am thrilled that you're here at GirlCon because tech would benefit so much from your talent, experiences, and ideas, and I hope we can work together someday. Thank you all.
Hi, everyone. My name is Allie Guerin, and I'm an incoming junior at Deerfield High School on the GirlCon core team. I just wanted to say a special thanks again to all the incredible role models who just shared their videos with us. Now we're about to start our first keynote speakers, and we are so excited to kick off our conference. These speakers work in the IBM Cloud Unit, and we are so excited for them to share their advice with you.
These women are so inspiring, and we can't wait for you to hear from them. Introducing Rene Bostic and Janine Sneed.
Rene Bostic is the Technical Vice President of AI Applications, Worldwide IBM Cloud, and Cognitive. Rene consults with many C-suite executives on supply chain, Internet of Things, artificial intelligence, and blockchain solution. She is a member of the Internet of Things Consortium and the Society of Information Management. Rene resides in Atlanta, Georgia, and enjoys family genealogy research.
Janine Sneed is the Worldwide Vice President of Customer Success, IBM Cloud and Cognitive Software. Bold, energetic, passionate, and results-driven, Janine is responsible for $3.4 billion in revenue for customer success in IBM Cloud and Cognitive Software. With over a decade leading high-performance teams in product management, strategy, and pre-sales technical engagements, Janine has a track record of transforming customer and IBM businesses in digital transformation. Janine is the founder and co-executive sponsor of GROW in IBM Cloud and Cognitive Software, an initiative to support career growth, diversity, and inclusion for women in IBM. Janine lives in Cary, North Carolina with her husband Matt and sons Jackson and Maddox. And now, please welcome the wonderful Rene Bostic and Janine Sneed.
Well, hello, everybody. Special thanks to GirlCon for inviting us to present today. I am Rene Bostic. Many of you may know Apple computers, right? Because you have an iPod, I'm at iPad, you may have an iPhone. What am I talking about? You may have a Microsoft software such as PowerPoint, because you actually have to, do your presentations. You may also have Amazon, right? Because you have a Prime account where packages are delivered. But you might not be so familiar with IBM. So what I want to do is share with you something specific, and that is a little bit about the history. So no matter where you go or what you do, probably even without you knowing, IBM is present. Whether you use a credit card to buy that favorite tattoo, or shop online, or even download a movie. Believe it or not, IBM software, when you download it from that server down to your iPhone, you actually are using IBM technology. And IBM is really intertwined with the fabric of everyday life since it was founded in 1911. The world has experienced great change, as you have heard, and we are all with you in heart and spirit during this difficult time. But one reason IBM has truly been successful is because of diversity and inclusion. And so with that, if you can go to the next slide. I want to talk to you a little bit about what is diversity and inclusion. Diversity really encompasses the traits and the characteristics for who you are as a unique person. Now, what do I mean by that? It will be centered around how, you were born, right, with certain characteristics, gender, race, and then you were born into a specific culture based on religion and your principles, etc. When you look at inclusion, it is, have you been and are you invited to the party? Are you invited to be a part, if you will, of a community? And with all of this stated, I want to give you an example, because I think by telling a story, a personal story of mine, it will help you to understand, if you will, the traits of diversity and inclusion. And I'm going to talk about when I was born, the year I was born, the week I was born. And the place will be a hospital in South Carolina. And I want to talk to you about a doctor who believes in not only diversity, but inclusion. And in this hospital in South Carolina where I was born, there was a ward for Black babies, right? As they were being born, they were put in a nursery, a wing where Black babies were in the nursery. And then there was a different ward for white babies who were in a nursery. And this particular doctor, this pediatrician, was going back and forth, if you can imagine, between one ward to the next, from one wing to the next. He got so frustrated because so many babies were born that week, until he started picking up people like me, babies like me, and taking them to the same ward. And that week, believe it or not, at this hospital, everybody was integrated into a specific ward, everybody, right, regardless of, back to your identity, this is the diversity, your gender, your race, your culture, everybody was included. Now let's talk about the hospital. The hospital would have said, we're very diverse. Our patients are diverse. Our doctors are diverse because they have patients who are Black and white. But what wasn't happening is the inclusion part. The inclusion was when we, as the Black babies, were invited to the party, right? We were invited to the community, and everybody was integrated together. And that's what I want you to understand. Diversity is your identity, who you are. Inclusion is, are you invited to the community? Are you a part of the community? So if you can please go to the next slide. All right, now that we're talking about, specifically what it is, now we want to talk about how can you contribute to diversity and inclusion. And the first thing is learning. how can you learn about other cultures and backgrounds and generations? And I've had great opportunity at IBM to travel abroad. And I will tell you, one of the things as I can think about my IBM career that was really important and really a testament to me being a part of a community. I actually traveled to Abu Dhabi and was able to visit one of the most grand mosques. It was the Sheikh Zayed Mosque in Abu Dhabi. And when you go to the mosque to tour, you're actually asked to wear, if you know, a hijab and an abaya, right, in order to be very respectful of the visit. And one of my coworkers took me there, right? I was learning about their background and their culture. And when I came out of the dressing room, what was very interesting, and he said, "Rene, where are you?" And to be honest, we all look the same. And I would tell you at that moment, it was very precious to me because I had been invited not only from a diversity perspective, because I'm a Christian, right, going into a culture for Muslims, and I was invited to be a part of that community. And I went in and I learned so much. So don't be afraid to learn and explore new cultures. The other one I want to say is be an advocate. I did attend a college, St. Andrews University in Lawrenceburg, North Carolina, and they had an entire dormitory just for the disabled. And I mean, it was equipped for the disabled and everything. And I would tell you, I learned so much. And I had this wonderful best friend. And I would always ask her, what can I do? How can I help you? And the answer was, Rene, treat me like everybody else. I don't want to be treated special, right? I want you to treat me as if I'm an able-bodied person. And so learn to talk to people, be an advocate, find out what they want, how they want to be treated. It's so important. And then the other areas of being bold, right? We talked about that doctor who said enough is enough. Every baby is the same. We're going to put them all in the same nursery, right? Be like that doctor, right? Be a person who will be willing to open up and hear other voices and give other people an opportunity to speak. So these are areas I believe that you can indeed contribute to diversity and inclusion. So next chart, please. So with Janine and I, what we're going to do is we want to share some success stories with you of people who we have studied or have met or have admired that we would like to share with you how they have embraced diversity inclusion as technologists. So if you can go to the next slide, please. So I would like to highlight Ursula Burns. She was the first Black American woman CEO to head a Fortune 500 company, which is Xerox. And what is really special about this story is that she was succeeded by Anne Mulcahy. And Anne Mulcahy was actually the first white female, if you will, of the Xerox company. And then when Ursula Burns succeeded her, they were both women. Two women succeeded, being the president back to back. And as you really hear about this story, what I really loved about it is that they felt it was a partnership, right? And they really saw each other, and Ursula was invited to the party, right? That's the inclusion part. Her diversity was her race, her gender, but the inclusion part is because the two were friends, then Ursula, right, and the participation of it was now becoming the first Black African-American CEO within Xerox Corporation. TrueScore.com says that Ursula, her leadership style is something that we should all copy. And what that means is when you think about you and your capabilities, Ursula Burns came to the table. She had industry knowledge. She had technology acumen. She was very frank when she dealt with people. And guess what? She took risks. And that is something that I think we all should learn how to do a better job of, is take that risk. Sometimes you wonder, how in the world can I do something? But you're kind of fearful. You're kind of laid back. You're like, oh, I don't know if I can do this. But just take that risk and move forward. And that is what Ursula did. During these difficult times, one of the quotes that Ursula Burns mentioned was centered on, communities and companies must be concerned and active voices, right? And that we should actually look at how the structures in our communities are run. So let's see what IBM is doing in this area. So next slide. what IBM has done, if you have not heard it, the news lately, is we have indeed, because of the tough times we're in right now, we have abandoned the facial recognition products research and production of those at this time. And it is truly because of a couple of things, right? I'm showing you the picture of Francesca Rossi. She is the IBM Global AI Ethics Leader, and she has done great work centered around AI bias. Meaning with AI technology, are there any unfair decisions in our algorithms? And one algorithm, if you would, within facial recognition, if you have light complexion skin, the error rate is like 0.8%. But if you have darker skin, the error rate was like 34.7%. And so therefore, as an African American, you may have been profiled to have committed a crime just because the facial recognition technology was not as precise. And so that's why IBM started this charter. We're going to abandon, if you will, the facial recognition products, soon followed Microsoft as well as Amazon. So it's about corporate leadership. And when you find a company as you grow into your careers, think about companies who want to lead the charge and be really great corporate citizens, if you will. And so with that, I wanted just to say one last thing, and that is that we need you, right? We need women, we need young women to be on these teams, these AI teams. And why is that? Is because of the AI bias. If I am, say for instance, creating a particular application, if you will, for people of color, and the whole team doesn't have a member that is a person of color, you're going to have some, I guess, some biases, if you will, unconscious biases about what that community wants and needs. And so we need you. We need you to be members of the team, everybody. That's why diversity matters, right? We need you to be on the design teams, programming teams, delivery teams, and marketing teams, just to name a few. There are so many broad parts of IT that you can really encompass and become a part of. But when we're together and we embrace diversity and inclusion, all of our voices are heard and all of our points of view will be incorporated. And with that, I want to turn it over to my colleague and friend, Janine Sneed, to share additional stories of role models in technology.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Rene. And we're going to come back to you in a couple minutes in our fireside chat. So it is so inspiring and so humbling to be here with you today. Just going through that list of all the stars and the speakers and the opening is just outstanding. So I'll pick up here highlighting just a few more women in technology who represent diverse and inclusive cultures. So if you go to the next slide, imagine what life would be like without Google.com. We've got the world's information indexed and searchable right at our fingertips. And I wanted to highlight Marissa Mayer. Marissa Mayer was behind so much of this at Google. You may have read some of the books and some of the articles about her successes. She made her way from the first female software engineer to the product manager at Google to former CEO at Yahoo. She designed the user interface of Google's homepage, and she was the product manager for the company's search engine for more than 10 years. She was credited for increasing the number of daily searches from just a few 100,000 to over 1 billion. She also contributed to products that you and I probably use daily, products like Gmail email, the Chrome web browser, Google Maps, Google Earth, and more. And Marissa went on to become the CEO of Yahoo in 2012. That is no small feat, so we thought it was important to highlight her. If you go to the next chart, we also wanted to highlight a woman in tech that represents the LGBT community, and Megan Smith was top of mind. If you think about that chart that Rene showed, diversity and inclusion is not just about gender, it's about your whole self, and it's about your whole being. And we thought that this was just such an amazing story. So Megan was the third CTO and the first female CTO of the United States serving under President Barack Obama. She led initiatives at Google as well. But more importantly, she was the CEO of a company called Planet Out. And it was an online media company exclusively targeting lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender individuals. And after she left the White House, she launched Tech Jobs Tour, which aims to promote diversity and inclusion in the technology sector. And the last example is Dr. Chiko Asakawa. Now, I wanted to highlight Dr. Chico because she is an IBM fellow and has been so instrumental in furthering accessibility research and development for over the past 3 decades. She invented something called the Homepage Reader, and this was the first voice browser to provide internet access for the blind and visually impaired computer users. HPR was designed to enable users to surf the internet and navigate web pages through a computer keypad versus using a mouse. Now, this technology debuted in 1997, and then it became widely spread available by 2003. But Chico is very, very active in AI and trying to advance AI for the visually impaired. I thought it would be best for you to hear how she's building AI by hearing her story. So we have a short video that we've included. I'll ask the crew to play the clip.
I hit my left eye on the side of a swimming pool when I was 11 years old. After that, I gradually lost my sight, and by the age of 14, I was totally blind. My biggest fear was losing my independence. People thought I can't do anything because I cannot see. I thought people should understand, even though I cannot see, there is a lot I can do. Here is where I am from, Osaka. I've spent my life developing technology to help the visually impaired. Floor change to tile. We built an AI-powered guide that uses IBM Watson. The library is in 40 meters. To help the blind navigate the world. It is already working in cities like Tokyo and Pittsburgh. I hope eventually it will help millions more people like me live in a world that is accessible for everyone, everywhere. Your gate is in 50 meters on the right.
Thank you. You can pull the slides back up. So we wanted to show you just a few examples, and I hope that you found some inspiration from the list of technologists who support diversity and inclusion. It's a long list, and we simply couldn't do justice with so many notable heroes in 30 minutes. We selected just a few that we thought would resonate with you and hopefully would inspire you. What we want you to see is there are examples out there of women creating amazing technologies, of leading businesses. They're brave, they're bold, and they're not afraid. And we need you because you're the next generation that's going to take our technology into the next era. So what I wanted to do was open it up to a small fireside chat with Rene and myself so that you can learn a little bit more about us and our backgrounds. And so I'll start first with some questions for Rene, and then she'll ask me some questions. And I do invite you, please feel free to post some questions over on the chat, and we'll take them as we can. Okay? So first, Rene, tell us a little bit about what you do as the Vice President of Tech Sales for AI Applications.
Right. Well, Janine, first of all, thank you for those amazing stories as well. Really enjoyed your perspective on them. And I would say my role is truly centered on working with clients and ensuring that we are listening very intently to their needs and requirements, and that we are addressing them, not only with technology, but people and processes, right? It's a lot of people think when you become a technologist, you're only working with technology, but you're working with people, processes, and technology. And so I do that across the IBM Cloud community, and it's just a wonderful career. And so with that, we do have a question from Nadia Ashraf, and she asked us specifically, when you say take risk, how would you go about managing the risk? I'm going to answer that first, and then I'll ask you to respond as well, Janine. But to me, it's about making sure you are reading and coming from a data-centric point of view. When you actually are studying the information and you're coming up with your own conclusions, those conclusions may be right or wrong, but you go in with it with all you have, knowing that you're making the best decision you can based on the data that you have. So that's how I feel you can manage risk. So across your career, Janine, how have you managed risk?
I agree with that, Renee. I think it's a mix of the data and looking at the data as well as finding your passion. If you find your passion and you find something that you love and you want to get up every day and do that, there's nothing that can stop you, right? And you're going to become unbeatable and you're really going to rock it. So that's how I think about managing risks. It's looking at the data, but then also like, this is what I'm really passionate about. This is what I know and what I love, and just go for it.
Indeed. And so I have a question for you now, Janine. What's the technology area that interests you the most and why?
So I am extremely passionate about AI. I'm passionate about AI partly because I believe there is so much that AI can enable for our future to help automate outcomes for our customers, to help make predictions in every single industry. And I also think AI is so untapped. We haven't even scratched the surface. So AI is a huge area that I'm interested in. What about you, Renee? What's one of your technology passions?
Well, I would tell you new technologies and emerging technologies have been a passion of mine for quite some time. If you look at blockchain, data science, and now we're talking about how can you merge those two, and that's the area I cover now is AI applications. How can you merge those two around inventory management, order management, how you can incorporate Internet of Things as well as weather. So I'm in my sweet spot. But I tell you, there's so many questions coming from the chat, Janine. Let me just ask one for you right now. Yeah. There's a question that says, what do you think AI can do for the world?
So I think in every single industry, from helping doctors find better outcomes, from helping infectious disease doctors and people that are out creating the right medicines and the technologies that enable that. I think AI is critical for that. So I think there's a huge innovation aspect of AI, specifically in the area of drug discovery in medicine. I think there's a huge area within AI. I think there's so much AI that's already been used in a lot of what I would say shopping and e-commerce and machine learning. I think that's been there for quite a while. I think it's going to start picking up more in some of the industries that haven't been as comfortable with it, like banking, because it's a regulated industry. And a lot of consumers, right? Most of us have bank accounts, right? And so we're afraid on how AI is going to make those decisions and those recommendations and how you put AI in financial risks and modeling. So I think there's going to be a lot of untapped areas in industries that we haven't really seen it yet, because consumers in businesses are going to get more comfortable with it.
Okay, wonderful. I can't agree more. So I know we're at the bottom of our time and our hour here. So Janine, I'll turn it back over to the GirlCon conference team.
Awesome. So we've got one more chart that we want to wrap up, and then we can do Q&A if you ladies are okay with that.
Yeah, sounds good.
Last one. So we wanted to kind of leave you with why it matters. Can you do you have the charts? There we go. Thank you. So there's 4 reasons for why diversity and inclusion really matters in technology right now. And there's 4 things that we want to highlight from Catalyst. So first is talent. Companies with higher level of gender diversity and with HR policies that focus on diversity are linked to much higher employee retention. In fact, Catalyst found that 35% of an employee's emotional investment to their work is linked with feelings for where they feel like they're really included. Second is innovation. So the International Labor Organization found that companies with well-established business cultures that are inclusive have a 59% increase in creativity, innovation, and openness. Different cultures bring fresh perspectives, diverse perspectives to projects and programs. And having these diverse teams reduces groupthink so that novel, creative, innovative ideas can really flow and be embraced. The third is reputation. So the International Labor Organization also found that organizations with inclusive business cultures and practices are almost 58% more likely to improve their reputations. And last, especially in public companies, the question is asked ad nauseum about financial performance. And there are many, many, many studies that have shown financial correlation between diversity and inclusion and financial results. There's so much out there, from Credit Suisse to McKinsey to Bostic Consulting Group. McKinsey tells us that organizations in the top quartile for ethnic and culture diversity among executives were 36% more likely to achieve profitability. So we wanted to wrap up with that, and we will turn it over to Q&A if we have some time.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much for your incredible and inspiring presentation. So we can look at the comments from the live stream and also some of the comments that people have sent in on their registration to kind of start with some Q&A. Yeah, so it looks like we have a question from Irina. She asked, did you face any challenges in learning, especially during college, learning STEM, and how did you overcome them?
Rene, do you want to take that first?
Well, I would tell you, I was big on math and science in high school. And so it was one of the topics and the areas that I was most passionate about. But I think it was because of my father. He loved biology. And so you had to love biology in my house. And so from that perspective, I think it's finding that passion and understanding perhaps an area that you want to focus and get really great and deep into that particular subject matter. You know, a lot of people say, well, I won't use it again, but trust me, you use it every day and just don't realize it. So how I would face the challenges in learning is find somebody who, like I was saying, it had just happened to be my father. It could be a friend. It could be somebody that you have in your social network. Find out somebody who really loves it and just make it a part of your everyday life as you experience the world. Incorporate STEM.
Thank you. So G asked, how do you deal with imposter syndrome? Oh.
So that's a great question. So I think that there's this notion of confidence. And I do think that, you know, if you are confident and you may not have all the answers, it goes back to what Rene said about being data driven. You've got to do some research, know that you've done enough research, and just go for it, right? You think that whoever you're talking to or everybody else in the room is smarter than you. But trust me, if you have done enough research, you're probably the smartest person in the room and you're not an imposter. So my advice would be do the research as much as you can, but don't overdo it. And dialogue with people. There's so much learning out there, and you can dialogue, you can go in chats, you can go in online learning, get educated on something, and then just go for it. I think what Rene and I are really telling you is don't hold back. You have nothing to lose.
Awesome. So it looks like we have a bunch of questions in the chat. We'll take one from Tareem S. Asked, have you guys continued to work at IBM during this pandemic? If so, how did you guys do it?
Well, I'll start. IBM already had a work from home program. So from my perspective, I was already accustomed to having a home office and being able to work with coworkers. But when COVID-19 happened, as you can imagine, all the flights stopped. All of the, traveling from your home office, for those who did go into work, to the office stopped. And so what that means is that the number of calls increased. Because now, instead of having somebody on a flight for 5 hours, they can't talk to you. Guess what? They could actually call you up or ask for a WebEx or a Zoom meeting, etc. So I will tell you that the connected world, the connected work environment is a part of IBM's culture already, and so it was just being able to adjust and become accustomed. I do have a worldwide job, and so I will tell you, being able to have the ability to regulate your time so that you can have that call with Japan at 1 a.m. in the morning becomes the one area you have to really focus on how you're going to keep the momentum and the energy. And it's all about vitamins. It's about the right, I would say food and diet. So all of that, it really encompasses exercise. We have to take care of us. I think you've seen a lot on the internet about self-care. that is exactly what I know I have had to do, is do a lot around self-care.
Yeah, thank you. That was such good advice. I also wanted to just ask a question from some of the registration. And so one of the questions was, what advice would you give to your younger self at the start of your career? And how did your earlier career choices impact you and lead you to where you are now?
I'll go first. So I think what I would tell my younger self is be more confident. It took me a while to get confident, especially in a room full of guys, right? We're still not there yet. I saw what Sheryl Sandberg said, right? And we'll get there, but it was being more confident, and don't be so worried, about, not knowing it, because I usually did know it, but I was so worried and I just wasn't confident. And then in terms of my career path, my bachelor's and my master's are both technology degrees. And I never thought that I would end up where I am, and more like Rene, in a customer go-to-market type role. And what I would say is, I surrounded myself with mentors and coaches who saw something in me at times when I never saw it in myself. And so they would recommend me for certain roles, or they suggested me to look at certain roles because they saw certain things in me that I didn't see. So part of that advice for you is, surround yourself with people who are going to give you real feedback, true feedback that you can internalize to figure out, what are some of the things that you're super good at, and what are some of the things that you need to do to work at and really work on, I should say, so that you can be your best and hit your potential.
Awesome. Thank you so much for those responses. We have another question in the chat. Sophia Vargas Arcia says, a lot of my friends and family tell me to take a break during the day. How do you both think I can respond to them when I know that this is my passion? Thanks.
Well, like I said, it's a balance, right? Because you don't want to burn out. So first of all, if your parents are telling you to take a break, please take a break. They know you're the best. But I would say I understand that. I am like that in my hobby life of my family genealogy. I get started and you can't stop me, right? And so I just know that feeling. But it is important to have that, we call it in corporate work-life balance. Right, you just got to have that balance. And I would say if your friends and your family are telling you to do it, find time, designate time. Time management is very important. So find the time to follow your passion. But I agree with your friends and family. If they're telling you to take a break, that means you need to just decompress. Because guess what? When you take a break, your brain relaxes and you have time to come up with new, fresh ideas. So that's my perspective. Janine, I wonder if you agree.
I agree with you, especially if it's coming from your friends and your family. That goes back to them seeing something in you that you're not seeing. And I'm all about, passion for sure. But I agree with Rene. I find, especially when I take vacation and then I come back, I'm so much more refreshed. So, know that you're doing the best you can, and don't be so hard on yourself. I know as girls and as women, sometimes we feel like we have so much more to prove. You don't. Be confident in you and your skills. You'll get there. Take a break.
Take a break.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm sure that's very, very valuable advice for her. The next question from the chat that I wanted to highlight was from Mia May, and she asked, what inspired you to get into technology?
So it's a great question. I was actually going on a path my freshman year. I went to the University of Pittsburgh for my bachelor's, and I was going to go be a teacher. And my aunt worked at IBM. And we had a conversation over the summer, and she said, go try a computer science class. And I did, and I loved it. So it was just finding that logic, that time to just, I enjoyed coding at the time. I don't code right now, just given my role. But I found my passion in the technology and absorbing myself and learning new things that I just didn't know, but I wanted to learn. And so the lesson out of that is wherever you end up, right? And you're going to change your mind, right? I love doing this. I don't love doing this, right? That's okay. Be forgiving with yourself, but also be willing to try new things. So if I never took that, computer science class in the summer, I may have been teaching. And I probably wouldn't have enjoyed it as much. So that's how I ended up in technology.
Yeah, absolutely. It's those little moments that can totally change the trajectory of your career that are so pivotal. So we have another question from the chat from Marissa Dominguez, who asked, is there any advice for rising college freshmen entering the STEM field and finding internships?
Yeah,
Well,
I mean,
yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead, Renee.
Yes, no. So what I would say, as a rising college freshman, internships can be at different places. As an example, IBM as a corporation, we look at people who have different experiences, and so from a college freshman perspective, find what your passion is, and then apply to those different companies. Where they could be startups, it could be corporate companies like IBM. Find that passion and then apply, and people will see that come through during your interview, and they will definitely want to hire you. I saw some other questions in regards to also juniors and seniors who wanted to know how to go about getting internships. Always visit the corporate websites. IBM has a website on our summit program, and I will tell you, we go there, we look for the best and brightest, and trust me, if you have that passion, you have the resume, you have the grades, it's going to shine, and you'll have that opportunity. I also want to say, don't wait till your senior year. Please start early, because many people who start, as an example, their junior year in internships at companies like IBM, they're invited back their senior year and then are hired. So don't wait till your senior year to apply.
Yeah, that's awesome. So we just have a few more minutes, so we'll take a few more questions from the chat and maybe some from the registration. Simra Hasib asked, do you have any advice for when you don't feel motivated or when you feel like giving up?
Yes, I do. So a couple things. Get a piece of paper and a pen, not your computer. True paper and pen, we use that still, and write. Why? Why are you feeling what you're feeling? Start journaling. Where is this coming from, right? Are you tired? Are you stressed? Are you working on a hard problem? Are you having an argument with a family member or a friend? There are all of these sources that help you feel, why you are the way you are, but you got to get at the root at it. And my advice would be, first, write it down. The second thing, when you feel demotivated, go for a walk. When you go for a walk, so many things start to happen, right? Like your mind starts going, you start, new ideas, creativity. You just feel a sense of, I know that so many of us have been in lockdown, right? For some time, and we haven't been able to go out as freely as we want. I know this is an international conference, but if you have the ability to go out and take a walk, get some fresh air, right? If you have a treadmill or access to that, or a bike, get some fresh air. Those, really understand the source of where it's coming from, because it truly could be temporary for something else driving the demotivation. That's my advice.
Awesome. That's great advice. We have a question. We'll probably have time for one more question. Anu Thiranian said, outside of CS, what are some fields in tech that we should consider?
Well, I'll tell you, mine was actually information science. So my bachelor's and my master's was in information science. So I took a lot of CS courses for sure, right? And all those programming courses. But I loved also like internet searches, telecom, and I love the business aspect. So learning how to create a business plan. So if we're gonna, launch technology, what does it mean to actually make money on that technology? And information science gave me the balance of the technology and the business. So I did that at Pitt and Carnegie Mellon. I enjoyed that field a lot. I would do it again if I had to. It's more personality. Go ahead, Rene.
Yeah, and I would also say healthcare, right? And it's a big STEM field. You can see right here in COVID-19 as we're going through how, they need more medical personnel. So I would tell you, healthcare is also a big STEM field that you should consider, and it's booming and it's growing, and we always need more, in the medical field.
Awesome. Once again, thank you so much, Rene and Janine, for sharing your journey and advice with us. This concludes our first keynote speech, and we can't wait for all of you to go to the breakout and professional development sessions you registered for today or later this week. Take a look in the chat for a very important link to record your attendance for this session. It's a Google form. GirlCon Chicago sent it a couple minutes ago. This will give you a greater chance to get a swag bag, which includes a GirlCon t-shirt, so make sure you fill that out. And if you have a breakout session next, head over to your calendar invitation and click on the link to join that Google Meet at 4:15. Thank you again for joining, and we can't wait to see you throughout the rest of the week.
Thank you for inviting